your husband shuts you down when you try to share how you feel, and you walk away feeling alone and disconnected, this is not a communication problem. It's an emotional safety issue. In today's video, I'm going to tell you exactly how to respond in moments like that so you don't lose yourself and the closeness in your relationship. When your feelings are dismissed, you don't just feel annoyed. You start to feel unimportant, devalued, small, insignificant. Like what you just shared was not important enough or didn't land anywhere. And can you believe, as a couples therapist, the number one reason a lot of women don't feel safe and actually end up divorcing their husbands is this. It's not feeling understood and having their feelings being dismissed. Feeling dismissed is one of the most painful experiences you can have in a relationship. Research actually shows it hurts as much as being in physical pain. And this emotional pain may actually be stemming from your childhood, and just dealing with it right now in your current relationship may make it extra painful. Perhaps in your childhood or past relationships, you were not heard or being taken seriously. So now when your partner does it, it hurts 10 times more. And that's why feeling dismissed causes so many arguments and fights among couples. Because you're not just reacting to what he said, you're reacting to how it made you feel. It made you feel misunderstood, disconnected, not close, unimportant. And when you get these feelings, in order to feel important and valued, you put up a fight. You try to pursue and explain even more in hopes for more understanding. And then if you don't feel heard, you're going to escalate it even more and maybe start complaining, yell, get angry, and that's how fights start. Not that you're at fault for this, but I'm just pointing out one reason why fights might be happening or arguments might be happening is not so much that you're angry or annoyed. It's because deep inside you feel dismissed and unimportant. Because the last time you tried to share a feeling with him, he dismissed it. He shut you down or blamed you. So I'm going to tell you what dismissiveness sounds like. You share a feeling like, this has hurt me. Your partner might say, you're too sensitive. Or, that's not what I meant. You took it wrong. You took it personally. Or, why are we talking about this? Are you trying to have a fight with me again? Or, are you on your period? This is not a big deal. Why are you making a big deal out of nothing again? Can't we just have peace? So all of these comments make you feel unheard, like your feelings don't matter or you're not being understood. Or the invalidation may actually feel more quiet. He may go silent. He may change the subject. He may distract himself, look distracted, start looking at his phone, starts watching TV, or simply walks away. None of this feels good. What a way to make you feel unimportant and defeated. The more you have interactions like this, the more distant you'll feel from him and the more unsafe you feel. Perhaps you're going to stop sharing how you're feeling and say to yourself, why would I even risk opening up to him again if this is what's going to happen? So you share less. You hold more of your feelings and thoughts inside. Not because you don't care about the relationship or him. You want the connection, but you just don't have hope that it'll be met with sensitivity and understanding. The bottom line is you don't feel emotionally safe to open up and risk it again. And this is what usually happens next. You don't express the hurt. You express it, as I said, as anger. You snap, you pursue, you push. You try to explain yourself harder, which makes sense. You want to be understood. But all of this inevitably leads to an argument and an escalation to a fight. But I want to tell you, the anger is showing up because something important to you feels threatened and is missing. But here's the problem. Anger tends to push someone who already feels overwhelmed even further away. And probably the more you do this, the more you pursue, the more he's going to withdraw, or the more he's going to invalidate you because he's in a self-protective mode. And this breaks down emotional safety even more. And you lose all hope that you'll be able to get out of this state and fix the relationship. This is where good intentions go to die. And a lot of women get stuck in thinking, if I could just say this better, he'd finally get it. And this is exhausting. But I'm going to show you a way out of this. So what can you actually do instead so you don't get stuck in this vicious loop? The first thing you need to do when you feel invalidated and dismissed, acknowledge that that's what's happening. So before going to anger, frustration, criticism, you never listen to me, you invalidate me, you don't understand me, you make me feel so alone, Instead of going in this agitated secondary state of anger, which is covering the deeper hurt you feel, just become familiar with this feeling of I feel dismissed and I feel invalidated. I need understanding. I'm not feeling understood. So try your best to not go to the secondary anger, which is an unhelpful mask for these more vulnerable feelings, and try to name what you're actually feeling using an I statement. Because the truth is, if you express anger, it's going to push him further away, he's going to feel more blamed, and he's not going to give you the validation and the understanding you're craving. So you can say something like, I'm getting this feeling again, like I'm being dismissed when you said XYZ. So you're just pointing out a behavior or certain words he used. You're not blaming here. And that's it. You're not trying to lecture him. You're not sounding agitated and frustrated, because your body language is also very important. There's no eye rolling, crossing your arms, anything that indicates you're frustrated. You're not trying to convince him, prove your point. Basically, you're not going to say anything to escalate it further. You're just there to share your vulnerable feelings. But timing matters. Say this to him at a time that you feel like he has the capacity to listen to you, not in the middle of a blow up. But if you're listening to this and you recognize that this pattern of dismissiveness keeps happening in your relationship and you feel like it's wearing you down, then you absolutely need to take my relationship reset mini course. Because when moments like this don't get repaired, they get worse and escalate with time, to the point that you stop feeling safe in your relationship and feel very disconnected. The course will help you understand how you and your partner get stuck in this pattern and how to step out of this cycle so that the emotional safety stays intact. This is especially helpful if you are dealing with a husband or a partner who's not willing to come to couples therapy with you. It's a very non-directive way for them to get the information and apply it in your relationship. To take the course, you can go to my website, parisacounselling.com/relationship course, or you can sign up from the link right under this video. So let's talk about what a repair conversation looks like after you've been dismissed. So after you felt dismissed and identify it, and once things have cooled down, once you feel more regulated and he feels more regulated, go back and try to have a conversation about what happened in that moment. You might say something like, when you said, why didn't you pick up the dishes? And I shared how tired I was, and you said XYZ to me, I felt dismissed and shut down. And when things like this happen and I feel dismissed, it makes me not want to share my feelings again. And you're not going into this conversation being activated. You're very regulated and calm. And you're talking about it as if like you're a detective or an investigator, and you're just looking at a couple fighting. You're observing from the balcony of your home, having a sip of tea, and you're like, oh, he said that, and then she said that, and then look what he did. You're in observing mode, and you're just stating what you observed in that interaction and how it made you feel from your point of view. So you're not attacking or blaming and getting emotionally worked up. You absolutely don't want to do that. You're staying very emotionally detached and just sharing an observation. You're just sharing the impact of their words on you. And yes, this works best if he's not in a self-protective or defensive mode. Once you feel heard, also get curious about how that interaction was for him and what made him say what he said to you. What was he actually feeling? Now, I say this with a caveat though. You're not responsible for fixing his feelings. This is just so that you understand the cycle, but I don't want you to just fix the cycle on your own, because he's also responsible for this cycle and he needs to take ownership. Both of you work as a team to fix this cycle. And that's why taking a course on communication and arguments, like the one I mentioned before, could help you with that, because it's a third party taking you through step by step how you can identify the cycle and work through it. The other important point I want you to pay attention to, because I want you to protect yourself while you're doing this, is if you're calmly pointing out what happened and how you felt, and you're using I statements, you're doing a perfect job of communicating. You're not lashing out, you're not attacking, you're not blaming, and you're still met with dismissiveness, this is not on you. You cannot build emotional safety by yourself if you're dealing with a pattern like that. And continuing to push in those moments usually doesn't help. To protect yourself, you're allowed to pause, you're allowed to disengage, you're not giving up, you're protecting yourself. And that's the most important thing in that moment. Because sometimes a relationship has already become so unsafe that I don't suggest you take that risk again. Now, I want to go into something that may help you even more. For you to be able to discern if it's actually worth it to try again and communicate or to just leave it alone. It would help if you understand why he's dismissing your feeling, to see if it's something that you can change with better communication or no. Often, when a husband dismisses his partner's feelings, it's not because she's doing something wrong. It's because he's dealing with shame and he feels ashamed or small. For example, if you share something vulnerable like, I'm hurt or I feel judged, because he's dealing with this internal shame that has nothing to do with you, probably goes back to his childhood or past experiences, you sharing that feeling makes them feel like they did something wrong or makes them feel like they're being attacked or failing or criticized. This can happen even if you say this using I statements and trying your utmost best to be gentle. This is not a you issue, it's a him issue. Because they feel that instant shame, their nervous system gets activated and they absolutely feel so uncomfortable. To get rid of this uncomfortable, painful feelings, he dismisses you or shuts you down. Let me give you an example. You say, I felt hurt when you didn't check in with me. He hears, I'm failing again. And instead of owning it and sitting with that feeling and telling you, oh, that makes me feel so overwhelmed, I feel like a failure, he deflects, tries to push it away from his nervous system, pushes you away with it by dismissing you. That's not true. You're being sensitive. I didn't do anything wrong. Let's be clear. That is absolutely his vulnerability, and that's something that he needs to work on. Maybe he needs individual therapy. And if you're looking to work with a therapist, I have a video that tells you exactly what you need to be looking for to find the best therapist, and I'll link it right in this video right now. For emotional safety to come back, he has to take ownership of this pattern, because unaddressed shame turns into anger and deflection. His anger deflection will create distance. You can point out the cycle, you can stay regulated, those are the things you can do. But I want to be clear with you, you can't and should not carry the relationship alone. If you do that, this will be harmful to you. You deserve to be understood. Silencing yourself and shrinking yourself is not a solution if you want to be in a happy long-term relationship. While knowing how to respond to your husband in moments when he shuts you down is helpful, if you and your husband are having a hard time emotionally regulating when things are heightened, you won't ever be able to have a completely emotionally safe marriage. So to learn practical ways to regulate your emotions and respond the right way to your partner, watch the video on your screen now.